Fourth step, synthesize, complete breakdown of the goal setting process, allowing you to set up realistic goals that are just challenging enough to make sure that you're moving in the right direction and you're achieving whatever you're trying to achieve in your life, but at the same time, not so easy that you're basically wasting your time not getting anywhere. My name is Niki. I'm a certified fitness coach working with people all across the world in different situations, in different environments with different backgrounds. And even though most of my expertise is in the fitness field, a lot of the goal setting process and the logic behind it could be easily applied in other areas of your life. And I've definitely learned some of the stuff that I learned from clients and with my own trial and error in the fitness field. I've been applying those same tips to improve in other areas, whether they are professional, personal, relationships, and so on. Without any further ado, let's get into the goal setting process. And funny enough, the actual goal setting part of the goal setting process is the very last thing that you want to be doing. The reason for this is that goals are very specific things that are usually something that you're doing in the present time. Whereas you want to have a pretty good idea of the big picture and the name of the game, the rules of the game that you are playing. To give you an example here, let's say you go hunting and you're trying to select the perfect bullet for that you want to be using. This is like something super specific. However, you have no idea what kind of rifle you should be using, what's the environment, are you going somewhere, what's the weather, are you going somewhere in the plains or maybe like in a forest, jungle, whatever, and even what you're hunting. So you're trying with a very specific idea, something very specific that you have to do without even having an idea where you're going, like what is happening, what is the game that you're trying to play, what are the rules of that game. So that's why when we're talking about the goal setting process, you want to start from somewhere far away, a little bit more vague, somewhere in the future, someplace that you're trying to get to, and then work your way down to the present and get very specific. So you're starting vague, getting more specific. The very specific thing, the most specific thing that you're going to be doing, this is the actual goals. Goals by nature are specific things. So the first step is going to be figuring out the direction. Where are you trying to get? Again, this is a little bit more of a vague idea. No, okay, I have to move that way. What exactly is going to happen when you reach the end of your journey? You're not really sure. You don't even want to try and guess this. You just want to have an idea where are you trying to get. The reason for this is that you cannot predict the future. I mean, if you try to get super specific, there's going to be so many variables, and that's the reason why you're failing some of your goals. And that maybe has been your past experience as well, is when you try to set up specific goals, life happens. You cannot predict everything that's going to happen. And the further away you look in the future, the harder it is to be very specific because there's so many things that could happen and mess up your plans. So that's why start vague, have a direction, have an idea of where you want to be getting. And I'm going to give you specific examples in a little bit, so don't worry. Start with your direction. This is where you're trying to get. Then the next step, you're getting closer to the present and you're getting a little bit more specific. Okay, you know where you want to go, or you know which direction you want to be going. But what is the criteria? How do you know that you're even moving in that direction? Are you moving forwards? Are you moving back? Are you moving sideways? What is really happening? You need some kind of way to measure and evaluate progress and make sure that there is actually some movement happening. You need some tools, and essentially you need that criteria for movement, for success, for progress, whatever you want to call it. And this is basically going to be your compass, your navigation tools that you're going to be using to make sure you're walking in the right direction. Then, after the criteria is set, you actually have to make sure that you're moving, right? You know that I have to be going that way. I know how to measure progress, but you have to walk, you have to run, you have to move, you have to crawl, whatever. There has to be some kind of movement. This has come down to defining the types of behaviors that you need in order to keep that movement going. So this is the third step. You have your direction, you have your navigational tools, basically the criteria for success, criteria for progress, measurement, and evaluation, and then you actually have your very specific application, movement, which is the behaviors. And then the very fourth the last step is the actual goal setting. Okay, you have your behaviors, but you need specific actions in order to exercise those behaviors. Very specific things you're going to be doing in the present. And when I say the present, I don't mean like this very second of your life. The present refers to this week, this day, this month, and maybe the next couple of months. So when we're talking about goals, you want to think about specific actions or milestones that you need to cross, but mostly in the present, or maybe like in the near future. The further away you go in the future, the more vagueness there's going to be, the more it's going to be harder to predict what's going to happen, and you're not going to be able to be very specific. Hence, the nature of goals being very specific, things that you have to do, specific actions that you need to take, means that in certain situations, you may be able to set up goals for, let's say, 1 year period, or maybe like, let's say 6 months. But this is very rare. The further away you're moving in the future, and depending on the exact nature of the goal you're trying to achieve, this may actually defeat the purpose of what you're trying to get. So, okay, future means vagueness. Present means specificity. And let me give you a specific example here. Let's say you're trying to get smarter. Okay, pretty vague, I know, but bear with me. This is for a reason, and you can apply the same process for other general directions that you want to be getting. So let's say your direction is get smarter, become a smarter person. This is your direction. How are you defining success? What is your criteria for progress? Well, if you want to be a smart person, this probably means that you will have expertise in different types of areas, maybe like a very specific area. You have a lot of knowledge, a lot of reference experience, both your experience and that experience of other people. So you're learning from other folks as well. You're someone who can give solid advice, applicable advice, and you're probably not just book smart, but you have actually tested your hypotheses and you know that they work in different situations. Next step, you have your direction, become smart. You have your criteria, you've already listed this. Then the next step would be behaviors. So what are typical behaviors that smart people engage in? Well, things like reading books, taking different courses, lessons, hanging out with other smart folks, engaging in different conversations, maybe giving out lectures or learning from different lectures and so on. So these are your behaviors. And then we get to this very specific goals. Well, if one of the behaviors is, reading books, get specific. What can you do in the present to exercise that type of behavior? Your specific goal could be read 2 books every month. Like actually read them, not like skim through them. Spend some time. Maybe talk to your mentor or a coach for 1 hour a day. Other things that you could do is maybe test your hypotheses. Like if it's like a scientific field, spend at least 2 hours a day doing this, like the actual application, taking action, and you can get very specific with the type of action and maybe set up like some deadlines. Again, deadline goal, maybe kind of the same thing. Your deadlines could be sign up for a specific course until the end of May and so on. You can apply the exact same approach with other areas of your life. Like you want to get richer or you want to get rich, you want to have better relationships with people, you want to be a better, something that is super vague is like get a better version of yourself, which could mean like a ton of different things. But since it's something in the future, you don't really worry about this. Okay, it's okay. The vagueness is okay as long as we're talking about the direction that you're moving, some place that you're moving towards, not a specific goal. Getting a better version of yourself, this is not a goal. Like so vague, like what are you supposed to do? A good example of if your direction is to get a better version of yourself, a very specific goal or set of goals could include read like a book a week, spend the weekend with your family. Let's say what else? Work on your business 5 hours a day, and then maybe like client calls 2 hours a day, something like this. Like very, very specific things, executable actions. And that's basically it. You start vague, you start from the future, you move, and the closer you're getting to the present, this is when you actually set up your goals. Otherwise, you're risking of setting goals that are not realistic. You don't really know what are the rules of the game. I mean, you set up goals, but they're so vague. You don't know if you can achieve them, or you don't even know if they're realistic. And that's it. I'm gonna try and keep, or at least I tried to keep it short this time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go out, go get yourself some nice French crepe, put up some Nutella on top. Really enjoy that, and get out of YouTube. Till next time. Cheers.